With healthcare services back well and truly under the political microscope right now, it feels like the perfect time for 2 Point Hospital to come to consoles. Originally released on PC back in 2018, this modern-day successor to Theme Hospital is now spreading to PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch next week. And whatever platform you decide to play it on, it is a great hospital management sim with a wonderfully quirky sense of humour. You start out with a relatively empty hospital space, and it's up to you to fill it in a useful and meaningful way. You have to put down a reception, add a receptionist, and then start tailoring your facility to your patients and their needs. That first means that you need to diagnose them with a GP, and then hand out pills with a pharmacist, and then you'll be building rooms for certain different types of care as different types of patients come through your doors. As you progress, you'll unlock more types of rooms and items to put in them with the aim of keeping both your patients and your staff happy. Part of that is making sure that you pack your rooms with more items to add more prestige to them, which in turn plays into the hospital prestige and the level rating that you'll be constantly trying to improve. The hospital admin is fun in and of itself, and that's at least partially thanks to coating the whole experience in as much humour as humanly possible. Just as in Theme Hospital, your patients will be coming through with a bunch of crazy and inane fantasy diseases, and it's your task to try and give them the best possible care. Thanks to this, you'll likely have a giant pan removing machine to cure a nasty case of pandemic, of course, and that'll be right next to a psychiatrist that you've drafted in to deal with all the cases of Mockstar that turns its victims into Freddie Mercury lookalikes. If it sounds silly, that's because it is, and while the game's light and terribly British sense of humour might not be for everyone, you'll be missing out on all of the serious strategy stuff if you decide to give this game a miss. For the console ports, Sega and 2 Point Studios worked alongside Red Kite Games to handle the conversion. What's surprising when compared to other management sims making the jump to console is just how little work has had to be done on the game's front-end UI. You still have the same quick menu access in the bottom left-hand corner, there's a simple info panel in the bottom right, which has actually been lightly redesigned for more clarity and usability on console, and your current objectives are up in the right-hand corner. If you didn't have button icons overlaid, you could easily confuse the console versions with the PC one. Shifting from keyboard and mouse to controller also feels natural and intuitive. Camera control is handled by the two analog sticks and the zooms are on the triggers, while the face buttons do exactly what you'd expect to bring up the menus or select things and go back. You've then got the game speed and pausing handled by clicking the analog sticks. Honestly, the only thing that has caught me out while playing was going between the PlayStation 4 and Switch versions of the game, where the A and B buttons are the opposite positions to circle and cross. Life as a game reviewer is really difficult, let me tell you that. There's a ton of increasingly challenging content to delve into here, with the base game joined by the Bigfoot and Pebbly Island expansions on console. The game has evolved on PC since its launch as well, gaining things like the ability to copy and paste rooms, which does save you a fair bit of time, and redecorating for a more personal hospital decor, and those features have also been brought through to the console versions. However, two things are missing at the moment, which are the Superbugs initiative and Sandbox mode. They won't be available at launch, but Sega have promised that they will be added in a patch coming in late March. With its chunky cartoon art style, the game looks great on whatever platform you're playing on. It's a solid 1080p on the base PlayStation 4, and it's effectively locked at 30 frames per second, no matter how hectic your hospital gets. As soon as you're pushing for a 3-star rating on a hospital, it will be as busy as a beehive as patients with all manner of ailments flood through your doors and then meander around while waiting for diagnosis and treatment. The PlayStation 4 takes this all in its stride. The Nintendo Switch also puts in a respectable effort, but you can tell its mobile hardware is struggling a little bit. It's still very playable, but it's definitely not locked at 30 FPS in either handheld or docked play. But the thing is, it's not exactly a game where quick reactions are required, so it doesn't actually feel bad to play. At its best, with a relatively fresh hospital as your canvas, it is very close to 30 FPS, only stuttering occasionally with little dips of 1 or 2 frames per second. But as your hospitals get busier, this more typically drops into the mid-20s, and scrolling around a busy hospital and interacting with things will cause momentary hitches. That's exacerbated by increasing the simulation speed, suggesting that it's the CPU that is struggling much more than the GPU. But again, all of this remains very playable, and you probably just want to pause the game to fine-tune how your hospital is running or when building new facilities anyway, so it doesn't get in the way. The other problem with the Switch is that the interface in handheld play becomes rather small. It's not that bad on the regular Nintendo Switch, you might just have to hold the console a touch closer to your face, but on the Switch Lite it really starts to feel pretty tiny. Just like the frame rate, it's not going to make it unplayable, but it's a shame that there's no interface size options for Switch Lite users in particular. On the whole, these ports are great. They capture the entirety of the PC game and bring it over to the console, and there is a lot of content in there. Sure, it's not completely perfect on Nintendo Switch, but it's still good fun, and I'm sure that anybody that picks this up will have a lot of enjoyment out of it. And in general, these ports once again show that consoles are very capable of handling traditionally PC-based simulation games. That's all for this video. You can also head over to thesixaxis.com for our written version of this review, and you can also check out our original PC review as well for more about the game itself. As always, before you go, please do like and subscribe and even just share this video with others, and hopefully we will see you again soon. Goodbye!